Hello, welcome to Gaming Through the Pages. This is a new project from myself, Addison, of Pocketoid, the internet's longest running handheld gaming podcast, and I am going through every issue of Nintendo Power and EGM, just kind of alternating between issues and just kind of talking over them and just reminiscing and looking through them with you guys. This is the second episode I've done, so I would love to get any feedback that you may have. I've made some kind of minor changes, and I would still like to kind of experiment around, but really at this point, I just need to try and get episodes out, and I wanted to get this one out sooner than I have. But enough of that. Today we're looking at Nintendo Power. I believe this was 137. Let's see, hold on. Yes, 137, October of 2000. So I'm pretty excited about this one. This is an era of video games that I am very fond of. As you can see clearly, this was around the time that Majora's Mask came out, and then also Pokemon Gold and Silver is heavily featured in this issue, and those are two games that I have a lot of just really good memories playing. The remake that they did of Pokemon Gold and Silver is still, to this day, my favorite game. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, that is my all-time favorite game. Anytime I do, like, Desert Island games, I always think of Pokemon Heart Gold and Animal Crossing New Leaf and We Love Katamari. I think if I just had those three games, I think I would probably be able to be happy for a long time. I probably also want like Tetris DS or Tetris Connect, Effect Connected, that is. Something like that. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about today. We're looking at Nintendo Power, and let's get started. So immediately, it looks like this is their advertisement to subscribe to the magazine, and they're showing off a previous issue with the gold and silver cover. Oh, man, it's such a simple cover, but that art, Sugimori art of Ho and Lugia, just like, it just brings back so many memories. Yeah. I'm surprised that they're not showing like the Pokemon Gold and Silver player's guide here. What is it? It says it's a great Pokemon Gold and Silver bundle pack. Take your pick of gold or silver for only $50, and get 12 issues of Nintendo Power and the player's guide. Wait, so I'm confused about that. What? Because then it says for a measly $20. So $20 gets you the subscription. What is the... I don't understand this. What is the $50 though? $50 and then $20. That's kind of confusing. Anyways, I never was a big Army Men fan. Not because I didn't like the games, just because I didn't really get to play them all that often. But I've also heard that the games, for the most part, are pretty bad. But I don't know. I should go back and play some of these sometime. Then here we got Majora's Mask, and we're looking at what is going to be in this issue. So they are going to talk about Majora's Mask, Sarge's Heroes 2, Taz Express, Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion, Disney by Design. I don't know what that is. Looks like it's multiple games. It says Mickey Speedway is just the tip of an iceberg that looks like Sleeping Beauty's castle. Starting this fall, you'll see a flood of Disney-themed games pouring out of the Magic Kingdom with the help of publishers Nintendo, New Kid Co., Crave, and Ubisoft. Hop on our monorail to Strategyland. Then we got Gold and Silver, Legend of the River King 2, and Dragon Warrior 1 and 2. Some Mickey Speedway, some Dark Knight. Oh, it's Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. Okay. Some coverage of Space World 2000. That's a pretty big one. And then just kind of the standard stuff that they have in every issue. I always like looking at the envelope art. Got several Pokemon ones, which makes sense because this is really probably around the peak Pokemon popularity of the big craze. Yeah, these are fun. I don't really want to read all of the letters, but I'm going to kind of just scan them for anything interesting. Or wait, no, these aren't... Okay, this was... they were answering a question, and so they're talking about sidekicks. So, let's see... Someone says, I think Bowser could be a great sidekick even though he's a villain. I mean, he's big, strong, and big. And, I mean, at that point, I guess he had kind of done some sidekick stuff, but, yeah. I was recently reading some old Nintendo Power magazines, and this caught my eye, a stationary bike that connects to the Super Nintendo. Since I personally feel fat and weak, mood, I thought this would be the coolest thing since pizza. Does it exist? Where can I get it? The unit you saw is called Life Fitness Entertainment System. The bike is a Lifecycle 3500, which looks like a big exercycle with a TV screen. Where have I seen that before? It's compatible with only one game, Mountain Bike Rally. The company stopped making them about 5 years ago, but we found one on the internet for the low price of $800. Honestly, that is probably a steal now. I haven't looked it up, but I bet there's like a subsect of perverts that really are into that. I've heard of other Legend of Zelda games like the Wand of Gamelon, which were for a system called the CDI. What were those games? Nintendo didn't make the Wand of Gamelon, but it did license the product. The CDI was a system made by Philips in the early 1990s that was supposed to be an all-in-one home entertainment system, but it proved to be largely unpopular and has all but disappeared. Maybe you can get one from whoever has the Life Fitness bike. Or don't. Don't get a CDI. Don't do that. Alright. When they say top 20, are these like the sales? Or is this just popularity? Doesn't really say, but for 64, the top 10, I'm not gonna do the top 20, but top 10: Pokemon Stadium, Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Smash, Tony Hawk, Donkey Kong, Pokemon Snap, and Kirby and Harvest Moon. I mean, most of those are pretty good. Well, actually, no. I would say all of those are good. I'm not the biggest Perfect Dark fan, and GoldenEye I loved back in the day, but I think it's a nightmare to revisit now. Game Boy, their top 10: Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow, Link's Awakening, Pokemon Trading Card Game, Pokemon Pinball, 007, Super Mario DX, Kirby's Dream Land 2, Super Mario Land 2, Donkey Kong Land, and Harvest Moon. I don't know anything about that James Bond game. I'm not sure if that's any good, but the rest of this is all pretty good. Most Wanted. Dolphin. What is Dolphin? Are they talking about just like the GameCube itself? Pokemon Gold and Silver, Majora's Mask, Banjo-Tooie, Zelda Triforce series for Game Boy. I assume that's the Oracle games. Game Boy Advance. Okay, so Dolphin, yeah, that must have been the GameCube that they're referring to. Hey You Pikachu, Mega Man 64, Earthbound 64, good luck, and Pokemon Puzzle League. Just kind of looking at some more stuff here. That Tony Hawk envelope art is very good. Man, those batteries going into the Game Boy, they're doing something there. I don't know what's going on there. Nintendo Power Online. Oh man. I guess this is just kind of an advertisement for some of their websites, but this makes me think about Camp Hyrule, which I always really enjoyed. During the during the summer, they would have like a virtual summer camp, and they would divide you into different like houses, and then you would like earn points for your house, and there would be like different parts of the camp you could go visit that would be, you know, kind of themed after different Nintendo things, but it was mostly a lot of Zelda stuff, and you'd have chat rooms and whatnot, and you would just try and get your team to the top. It was really fun. It was back when the internet was a lot more enjoyable and not a nightmare. Yeah, I would love to go to PokemonGold.com again. That sounds good. Radio Zelda. I don't know what this is. Are you reading the final issue of Nintendo Power? Frankly, we're just as concerned as the rest of you, and the incoming news looks grim. We can only hope that the search for the one is successful. What? What are they talking about? We received a number of letters from astute Nintendo Power readers regarding 2 new websites that have sprung up recently. The first site, located at zscience.com, claims to have discovered a parallel universe. The excitement generated by such an astounding discovery has been tempered, however, by the knowledge that the parallel dimension contains a gigantic moon that is on a direct collision course with their Earth. The other site, Radio Zelda, contains audio and video news briefings regarding the parallel dimension, its wayward moon, and what effects that will have upon us Earthlings. According to Radio Zelda, anything that happens over there will also happen here, resulting in a lot of canceled vacation plans come November, unless a savior known only as the One can be found in time. While Nintendo is listed as a supporter of Z Science, this reporter was unable to discover the significance of the sponsorship. Keep a close eye on both sites as events promise to become even stranger in the days and weeks ahead. So I guess that's like, I don't know if it really was an ARG, but kind of a, just promotion for Majora's Mask. That's pretty neat. What's the musical sensation that's taking the dance this October? It's Poke Karaoke, and it's both the gold and silver websites. Lay down a fat beat, then intermingle the grunts, laughs, and other various noises of your favorite Pokemon. When you're finished, loop the sample, add some melodies, and you're on your way to a well-deserved Grammy Award. I wonder if that works on Internet Archive. That'd be kind of fun. It's also kind of fun to just look at some of these old website URLs. Like, I'm not sure what datadyne.com is. That sounds familiar. The funny thing is, some of these they like tell you what it is next to it, but not that one. So can't think of what that would be. Um, rogue.nintendo.com is Rogue Squadron, of course. Pokemon Card GB, Pokemon Snap, RidgeRacer64.com. I wonder if you can buy that URL. That'd be a fun URL. I would love to own RidgeRacer64.com. Oh, look, Camp Hyrule. Yep, there it is. Man. I always like think about how cool it would be if they brought that back in some form. I don't know what it would be exactly, but I just have so much nostalgia for Camp Hyrule. Now we're looking at Majora's Mask. A lot of annoying people will tell you it's better than Ocarina of Time, and you know, sometimes I agree with them. Not usually, but sometimes I do. It does require an expansion pack. Let's just read this first page. An instant classic of a sequel, Majora's Mask offers everything that The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time boasted and more. This time around, Link sets out to find a troublemaking Skull Kid who's spreading ruin in a parallel world. In 3 days, the moon will crash into the world, and it's all because of the cursed mask that the Skull Kid wears. Using the time-traveling powers of his ocarina and the shape-shifting magic of some enchanted masks, Link must relive the 3 days leading up to the lunar landing until he can undo Majora's evil effects and untangle the course of events that are provoking doomsday this month. Learn to live through the first dungeon and make sure you have an N64 expansion pack. Without one, you won't be able to play the game at all. I remember saving up money for this, and the game came out, and I didn't quite have enough money, and my parents picked it up for me, but they wouldn't give it to me until I earned the rest of the money. And I remember like just seeing it in their room and just like being like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to earn the rest of this money. And in my head, it like took months, but it was probably just like a few weeks or something. But yeah, I remember doing all sorts of chores so that I could play this. Now looking at this, it's making me want to go back and play Majora's Mask again. But I would say if you're going to play Majora's Mask these days, I don't know, you kind of got like two real options. Technically, you've got several options, but I think the main options that you should be considering is either playing the 3DS remake or playing it on like a Mister. So those are the two that I would really think about. Or I guess there is part of me that's like, I could just play it on my Switch, and that's just convenient. But I think optimally, you're wanting to play the 3DS remake because they've got some really nice tools to kind of mitigate some issues that the game has. They're just kind of talking here about the mechanics of the game, how you've got the 3 days, and how the NPCs have routines that they go about throughout the day, and you know, certain things that you'll have will go away at the end of the 3 days. Like you have to deposit all your rupees or else you're gonna lose them. And then you wear the Deku mask and can turn into the Deku scrub that the Skull Kid turns you into at the beginning. Showing off Clock Town, which is kind of the central hub, I guess you might say. They're showing you here where some heart containers are, or not heart containers, but I guess pieces of a heart container. And then one of the like early things that you have to do is play hide and seek with some village kids, and they're showing you where those are at, where the Great Fairy is. Some of these pages are got a little torn up before the scan happened. Oh right, you use the telescope and you see the moon's tear fall. I forget what you are supposed to use that moon's tear for. I think it's like something about trading it to someone for something, I want to say. I think this is also the first Zelda to feature Tingle. And so I imagine, because Tingle's in Clocktown, so I imagine they're going to show him. Um, yeah, just some more, just kind of little random strategies and things for some of the things that you're doing early on in the game. This is the Woodfall area. It's nice that you could get like this Nintendo Power and have like a map of that, because it shows you like the forest maze, shows you where those heart container pieces are. And like back in the day, it was really nice to have this, especially if you didn't have the player's guide, or even if you had the internet, you probably had dial-up, and it would take like a while to load something up and like find what you're looking for. So it was just always great having a Nintendo Power with these things. Here is the first temple, showing you where some like fairies are. And then your boss there. What was his name? Odolowa? Odolwa? I don't know how you say that. Boy, I always forget that the first boss looks like that. That's crazy. And you would get the bow in the first temple. Yeah. What a good game. Here we go with the ads. So, yeah, this was when you could buy. That is not the Pokemon Puzzle League art or the Majora's Mask art. But yeah, you could buy Pokemon Yellow back then for $22.88. I'm not sure what it would go for now, but I have a boxed copy, and I want to say VGPC said that was like a $600 thing or something stupid. $70 for a Game Boy Color, man, that's crazy. I had, well, yeah, okay, I got my mouse cursor. I had this one here at the end, the teal one. That was my Game Boy Color. Had a lot of friends with the solid purple and the translucent purple. I think I did have a friend with the lime green one as well. And I had Pokemon Gold. Actually, I got Pokemon Gold, and then I loved it so much I ended up getting Pokemon Silver. That was the only generation I ever did that. I don't know why. I think I was just like, I ended up with like some birthday money or something and was like, yeah, I want to do it again. I want both of them. But yeah, I had everything on this page at one point except for Pokemon Puzzle League. I've never owned that game, I'm pretty sure. I think I've played it plenty, but I've never actually owned it. And I didn't own, multiple Game Boy Colors, but yeah, you know what I mean. Sarge's Heroes 2, probably won't spend a ton of time here. I don't know that, I mean, let me know if you have nostalgia for this game. I don't think I probably rented it. I think I rented it once, and that was probably the most time I ever spent with it. Um, But this game is rated teen by the ESRB for realistic combat scenarios and weaponry simulation. It is not intended for gamers under the age of 13, just so you know. I love the idea of the Arbyman games. I just don't think that they're necessarily great. And this CG woman is scary. This graveyard level looks kind of cool. I like the aesthetics of that. The freezer. It's too bad that these games aren't better. It's just some strategies for this game that someone was playing. Pinball's cool. I guess we have some missing pages here. We're missing pages 31 and 32, but I assume that 31 must have just been the end of the Sarge's Hero stuff, and then 32 was just going into this Mickey Speedway. This is another one that I didn't really play. And honestly, I don't know why, because I really, really liked Diddy Kong Racing, and I liked Mario Kart 64 fine at the time. I think it's one of the weakest Mario Karts, but, and I liked Disney, so I don't know why I didn't play this. I wonder if it's actually any good. I don't feel like I hear people talk about it a lot, but I mean, looking at the screenshots, it looks fine. I don't know. I might trying to think if I have that on my Mister. I might boot that up sometime and try it out. Got a thing here for reveal the new secret gold and silver Pokemon. Got Chikorita there. 3D trivia challenge. What is this? I don't really understand what it is. Pokemon reveal pin. Oh, okay, so it was like you color the thing and something happens. But you buy that book, you might want a trip to Japan. That's a good deal. And then other prizes are 10 Nintendo gaming systems, which I assume they are probably talking about a Game Boy Color. And then 50 copies of gold, 50 copies of silver. So 111 prizes there. I'm curious about the trip to Japan. I was trying to see if in the fine print, if I can make out anything about the details of that, like what you get exactly, but I don't see anything. Taz Express. I don't remember this game. Famous Taz Tornado must have been spending too much time on the couch gobbling junk food, because She-Devil has kicked him out of the house and found him a job as a delivery boy. Little did Taz know his first assignment would be a lot more than he bargained for. Taz Express will send you on a complicated expedition through city streets and foreign planets, filled with brain teasers and dead ends, but fear not, everything you need to know to ensure that Taz successfully delivers his first package is in these pages. That's a game that I assume is not good, but I would play it. I like Taz. I remember playing a Taz game, but I don't think it was this one. I don't remember what it was, because they had a whole like cartoon of just Taz, the Tasmanian Devil at the time. And I can't think of what it was called. I want to say it was called Tasmania, but I don't think that's right. But I remember watching that. And then Cruis'n Exotica over here, a game that I always forget has a Game Boy Color version. But the cruising games are fun. I really, really liked Cruis'n Blast that came out on the Switch. Has as a port of the arcade game, and it's great. And I really liked Cruis'n Exotica and Cruis'n USA back in the day. Cruis'n USA more so, but I would love to see Cruis'n make a comeback. They're just stupid, brainless arcade racers in the best way. I use stupid and brainless as a term of endearment when I'm talking about these games. Back to some Mickey Speedway. Oh, that is one of the pages we were missing. Huh. Something happened on this scan. That's weird. Some more of Taz Express here. Yeah. they're just kind of telling you like you can eat food and get your health back and collect these tokens, look for the level exit and all this stuff. I think actually maybe I did play this game now that I'm looking at it. I definitely didn't own it, but we would go to like our local rental place, and it's called Crown Video, and my mom would always let me rent either a video game and one of the old movies, or I could get a new release movie and an old movie. And so most of the time I was getting a video game and an old movie, unless, you know, there was something recent out that I really wanted to see. But yeah, I think I did rent this there actually. They keep showing like Marvin the Martian and Yosemite Sam, but I don't know if they're actually in the game. Just trying to see if they say anything about that. But I do remember this game not being very good. There's Coyote. Okay, well they do. They're showing like the Roadrunner Coyote area. So I guess they must have been in the game somewhere. Sleeping Sam. Yosemite Sam isn't bound to be in a pleasant mood if you happen to disturb his peaceful slumber. As a matter of fact, waking up the sheriff will land you in a jail and force you to start the level over again from the beginning. Well, that sounds fun. Everybody wants to be stealthy when they play as Taz. Got an advertisement for a Game Boy Color port of Aladdin. Probably not the way that you want to play that game, but you can. These are codes and secrets for some video games. So you got Beetle Adventure Racing up first. These are just secrets. There's no codes here. But Beetle Adventure Racing is a good game. Fox Sports College Hoops 99. Enter the word FF Wood for a special Final Four stadium. Triple Play 2000, which is a baseball game. Got some cheats here. Add a run to the away team, add a run to the home team, strike out the batter, get a 3-ball count, get 3 outs. Home run sounds. Okay, that's not really a cheat. That's just like a thing you could do. You do a soft horn or a loud horn. And then we have Olympic Hockey 98, which is in Nagano. NFL Blitz 2000 for the Game Boy. What a weird way to play that game. Guess you could. Xena for the 64, which is a fighting game. Nightmare Creatures, Nightmare Game, Armyman Air Combat, Extreme G2, Spy vs. Spy, Wacky Racers. A lot of not great games. I do like this legend of the symbols they have, though. So they have a big cheat. They have something that's just wacky. Hot. I don't know what hot necessarily means. Just for fun and sent by a reader. We got Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, and this bike that is just in a bunch of leaves. Someone left their bike. That bike's still there and just a pile of rust 25 years later. Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion. Okay, yeah, I was just looking to see if we were missing pages, but it does kind of... I feel like we missed some pages. I don't know. This doesn't seem like the most complete scan, but I don't know where else to get this without having the issue. This game isn't good. You are not even seeing any, like, dinosaurs, really, for the most part here. That's crazy. Why are you playing Turok if you're not gonna fight dinosaurs? I like the first Turok. Some of these other ones are not. They're just not it. Animorphs for the Game Boy Color. Actually, you know what? This is a Pokemon ripoff, huh? I kind of really want to play this. I never knew that this was just an RPG. That rules. I don't know that it's good, but I kind of really want to try this out. Some more Disney stuff. So, they were talking about all the upcoming Disney games. And so we have Alice in Wonderland for the Game Boy Color, Donald Duck Going Quackers for Game Boy Color, and Tigger's Honey Hunt for 64, as well as the Walt Disney World of Magical Racing Tour for Game Boy Color. A lot of Game Boy stuff. A lot of kids had Game Boys. And, a lot of kids had 64s too. I guess they just didn't have a lot of development invested in that. And they're just giving you some strategies here for going Quackers. I don't know that most kids playing Tigger's Honey Hunt had a Nintendo Power subscription, but if they did, I bet they were really happy to read about Pooh Stick. Now, Magical Racing Tour, you could play as Chip and Dale, and that's pretty sick. Mo Whiplash, Bruno Biggs, Polly Roger, Oliver Chickley III. This game looks alright. It probably isn't, but it looks alright. And then we have an advertisement here for some Game Boy stuff at EB. I've played, I think, all of this. I may have not played Perfect Dark on Game Boy. I can't remember. Warlocked is great. That is a Game Boy Color RTS, which probably sounds like a nightmare, but is pretty fun. And then you've got the Donkey Kong Country port, which is kind of insane that exists. It doesn't look exactly like the Super Nintendo game, but it's not the worst port. Wario Land 3, Pokemon Gold and Silver, Pokemon Trading Card Game, and Crystallis. Here we go. This was what I would have been losing my mind over, is seeing this preview for Pokemon Gold and Silver. By the time I would have gotten this issue, I think it was probably, I'm going to guess actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I had a subscription at this time. I'm trying to remember if I did or not. No, I did, because I remember, now that I'm thinking back on it, I remember having this issue. So I would have gotten this, like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks before the game came out, and so it would have been the only thing I was thinking about day and night. They got some screenshots in here. They just showing off some of the new Pokemon and some of the new gear. So they're showing off that the Poke Gear with the phone. I thought that was so cool. I still think that's pretty cool. You got Togepi. They have the Steel Pokemon and Dark type Pokemon now, so showing off Steelix and I keep wanting to say Murkrow, but isn't Murkrow its evolution? Maybe that is Murkrow. I'm losing it. And you're talking about how, like, you would defeat a trainer and get their phone number, and so sometimes they'd call you up and be like, hey, come kick my ass again, and then you could go back and fight other trainers that you had already fought before. And then about how this was like the first one where you could have a Pokemon hold on to an item, and it was the first time when you could like breed Pokemon and get eggs. Then you started off in New Bark Town, and with Professor Elm and your rival and your house, and you had to choose between the new starters. So it wasn't Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander anymore. You had Chikorita, Totodile, and Cyndaquil. And I chose Cyndaquil. I was always a big fire type starter fan, but honestly, I love all three of these. I think all three of them have a great design and like a great final evolution. The original three are iconic, but I think that this is my favorite set of starters. Totodile is so good. Look at him. He's such a little shit. He's a little guy. I love him. But yeah, they're just telling you like about the first moments of the game. Meeting the professor, meeting the rival, getting your Pokegear, setting the time, because this also was a game where it had a real-time clock. So when it was nighttime in the game, and when it was Friday in the game. So certain Pokemon would only show up at certain times of the day or certain days of the week. Certain places in the world would have like a sale happen on a certain day and stuff like that, which it blew my mind at the time, and I feel like was way ahead of its time as well. Then this is showing off like the first trail, and some NPCs and some items you can pick up, and berries, which was another new addition. We still have berries in Pokemon today, but this was the first one. So over here you get the I forget what they don't mention what it's called, but man, it's like a I forget the name of that berry, but it would restore 10 HP. So like handy at the start of the game, but it's not really picking up once you get further into the game, because 10 HP at that point is nothing. Then they're showing you Cherry Grove City, where you would first encounter your first Pokemart and Poke Center. And there's an old man who would give you a map card for your Pokegear. You do your first battle with your rival, and then there's a guy off on this island, and you couldn't get to him, but later on in the game you could. And it says, after you have Surf and can use it outside of battle, talk to the guy on the island who will give you Mystic Water, an item that increases the power of water type attacks. Another trail here, showing off that evolution of Chansey, which I believe is called Happiny, something like that. Mr. Pokemon has a mystery egg, and you bring that to the professor. And they're talking there some more about the trainers calling you after you've defeated them. Not every trainer would give you their phone number, but some would. Then there's like the berry guy, and then there's a cave up there and some more items that you can pick up. Then there's the next town, Violet City, where they had the Sprout Tower and your first gym, which I think was a flying type. Yeah, Faulkner. Yeah, it says has flying types to battle. So if you've got a rock type Pokemon, you're in luck. You can pick up an Onix by trading in the house to the left and down from the Pokemon Center. Faulkner will give you the Zephyr badge and TM31 Mud Slap if you beat him. Sprout Tower. The trainers inside Sprout Tower have a definite affinity for Bellsprout. If you started with Cyndaquil, you'll have no problem in the tower. Flying type Pokemon will also do well in the tower. And then talking about the Elder at the top of the tower, you will need to defeat the Elder to receive HM5 Flash, which will help you light up dark areas. He will have grass-type Pokemon, so you should defeat him with flying-type Pokemon. Okay, or fire. Uh, there's Peekaboo. If you know, you know. There's a puzzle here. I don't remember that sliding puzzle. So usually, all the puzzles in the games would just be like sliding across ice. uh, so I don't really remember that super well, but I mean, I guess it's there. What is this pick 3 they're talking about? Try to catch 3 different looking unknown, then talk to the researcher inside the alpha lab. They'll alter your Pokédex so you can track the differently shaped unknown. Okay, yeah. So unknown, there were one for each letter of the alphabet, and then I think also an exclamation point one and a question mark one. I can't remember if there was more than that, but definitely at least 28. This month's coverage of Pokemon Gold and Silver has come to an end, but there's more to come next month. Try to build up your team by catching as many Pokemon as you can and winning lots of battles with them. If you're a Pokemon pro, there's lots of cool new stuff to discover, and if you're new to Pokemon, you've got even more things to learn. If you talk to every person, enter every building, and pick up every item you see, you'll be on your way to becoming a Pokemon master. Man. It was just like the best. I don't know if it was technically the best time of my life, but I definitely have like some of my most fond memories of, like 2000 to 2002, I guess, other than, certain events. But yeah, I was so stoked for Pokemon Gold and Silver, and it's such a good game. Awada, like, really helped them out with that. There's a good chance you probably already know about that, but he helped them figure out how to kind of compress the game size down so that they could include all of Kanto. So once you beat the Elite Four and, you'd play Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, and you're like, okay, the game's over. I can, still go trade and try and complete my Pokédex and stuff, but the game's over. But once you beat the Elite Four and in Gold and Silver, it was, surprise, you can just go back to the area that you know from Red, Blue, and Yellow and see how things have changed and, take on all these gyms. And it was like 2 games in one. Like, there was so much you could do. It was wild. And that absolutely blew my mind as a kid. I'm reflecting back on this, and Pokemon Gold and Silver really was like ahead of its time and like a massive achievement for a Game Boy game. Like, are you kidding me? It's insane. What a cool game. Absolutely. Another game that was ahead of its time and just absolutely breathtaking. Austin Powers Oh Behave and Austin Powers Welcome to My Underground Lair for the Game Boy Color. These games are stupid. This is just like mini games and stuff, and I don't know what's going on here. It looks like there's some sort of platformer where Austin Powers is fighting Fat Bastard. I don't know. Explore the Mojo Maze. Beam your opponents a message via infrared link, because the Game Boy Color had an infrared sensor at the top, so you could send each other messages that way. No one ever did that. Link up with your friend or enemy for link play. Multiplayer grooviness with the Shagulator. I'm guessing that was a Austin Powers themed calculator. Legend of River King 2. This game is also very cool. It's a fishing RPG from Natsume and the developers of Harvest Moon. Yeah, these are really cool games. I would love to see a new one of these. That would be so just awesome to see. I should also just actually play more of these because I have played them, but not like a ton. And yeah, so I should go back and play this. They're showing you getting different fish and going across the land and catching bugs and trading, and this was like a really interesting idea for a game. Really appreciate that this exists. Here's the summit and the beach. Buy yourself a pair of flippers before you start diving, or you'll be spending lots of nights at the inn. Yeah, that's so cool. You'll find bad kids in the game, including one who kicks turtles. Slip him some cash to make him leave. What? I'm not gonna slip him cash to make him leave. I'm gonna beat the hell out of him. Don't kick turtles. You can get different lures to help you catch fish. All these different places to explore, different fish to catch. You gotta bring the goddess a cloud seed slug to receive a true cloud seed slug. What does that mean? A lover spat. Dad's in the doghouse again. Give him a pearl to win back Mom's affection. He'll let you borrow the family boat. Okay. Can't reach Oki Island at first. The waves are too powerful. Track down a dung beetle at the stream to calm them. What? Video game logic. Challenge the old man. To win the old man's challenge, you must catch a spearfish over 230 centimeters long. If you do, he'll give you a trolling rod that you can use to catch the Sea King. But this is only the beginning. If it's an in-depth challenging game you're looking for, and if you're the patient type, then River King 2 should be right up your alley. Combining over 50 types of fish, bugs, and flowers, the ability to exchange your winnings with Harvest Moon 2 for the Game Boy Color. Oh, I forgot about that. They had like a combination, or not a combination, but like a interaction between the two. And compatibility with the Super Game Boy for you old school players. The Legend of River King 2 is sure to keep you hooked. Old school players. The Super Game Boy at that time was like, well, how old was the Super Game Boy at that time? Probably like, I don't know. Probably like 5 or 6 years old, I want to say. You know, real old school. Like, the Switch 1 had a lot, like a, I mean, they're still putting out Switch 1 games, but had like a lifespan of 8 years, 7 years. And they're talking about the Super Game Boy being old school. This section is called Arena. There's I think people are just kind of showing off their scores. We got Pokemon Puzzle League. Just wanting you to show off your score there, or San Francisco Rush 2049, or Disney's The Little Mermaid. Yeah, Disney's The Little Mermaid 2 Pinball Frenzy. Challenge scoreboard. Oh, these are just some people that unlocked Ness. Okay. Cool. I think a lot of people unlocked Ness. I don't know why that was something that you needed to write in Nintendo Power about. That's weird. Finished the game with 3 hearts and no continues on Ocarina of Time. See, now that's impressive. Good job, Jeremiah Rich of St. Louis, Missouri. I hope you're doing well. I wonder where all these people are. What's Justin Holland of Temple, Georgia doing? Tim Holland of Cupertino, California. Taylor Justice of Eureka, California. What are you up to? Jeff King of Sherwood Park, Alberta, I guess. And then some high scores for Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which is a great game. I love that game. And some... Okay, so if you play Mario Tennis and complete this challenge, you could get a tennis racket and Nintendo case. And 20 runner-up prizes got a can of Nintendo Power tennis balls. I would love to have a Nintendo Power tennis ball. They want you to do this challenge and take a picture of it and send it in. I wonder how many entries they got into these contests. I would really like to know more about that. Oh, okay. This is just all of the this is a whole Pokemon section. So they're showing off 21 of the new Pokemon from Gold and Silver. To celebrate this month's release of Gold and Silver, to celebrate this month's release of Pokemon Gold and Silver, we're revealing far more Pokemon than ever before. 21, all new creatures, just for you. We're sure you've already checked out the in-depth Gold and Silver strategy section, but for your monthly dose of new Gold and Silver characters and their English names, you have to check out the Poke Center. Stick with us every month as we give you pictures and names of many cool new Pokemon from Gold and Silver. So we have... Oh, okay, so I was wrong. That was Blissey, not Happiny. Happiny was a different evolutionary line. Sentret, Apom, Mareep, which I love Mareep. Mareep's second stage evolution over here, Ampharos. I think that is a underappreciated Pokemon. Love Ampharos. Sneasel, Murkrow. So I was right, that was Murkrow. What is Murkrow's evolution? I can't think of its name. Quagsire, Blissey, Sudowoodo, Unknown, Heracross, which is also one of my favorite Pokemon. Love his design. So sick. Spinarak, Pineco, Smeagol. Nope. Smeagol is Lord of the Rings. Smeargle. Yeah. Steelix, Houndour, Stantler, Wooper, Sunkern, Hitmontop, and Miltank. That rollout bastard Miltank. And then we've got some fan art sent in. So Francisco in Chicago sends in Butterfreedom. Not a great scan there. Aerodactyl attacks. That's pretty sick. I love that. Good job, Betsy. Charizard is on fire. Does not appear to be on fire. Scyther. That Scyther's pretty sick. Greetings, Pokefans. Professor Oak here. I'm very excited about the research possibilities now that Pokemon Gold and Silver are finally available. But I always have time for your questions on any Pokemon related game. Don't forget that you can email me or any that you can email me or any section of the Pokemon Center at pokemcenter@nintendo.com with questions or comments. That was phrased a little oddly. How do I defeat the Card Masters in Pokemon Trading Card for the Game Boy? Where's Slowbro hiding in Pokemon Snap? My team is unbeatable. Can you beat it? As a service to our loyal Coliseum readers, we've started pointing out both the strengths and the weaknesses of each team. Every team has both. Straight from Lenexa, Kansas, it's Eddie Fauner. Eddie's a very confident fellow who's also a good sport. He challenged the Poke Center to find a team that could beat his. So we sent his team over to Professor Oak to examine in his column. Eddie says his team is rather invincible, and we agree that it's pretty awesome, but as Professor Oak likes to remind us, no team is invincible. Eddie's come pretty close, though. So, Eddie's team is Zapdos with Thunderbolt, Light Screen, Thunderwave, and Drill Peck. Right on with Earthquake, Rock Slide, Double Team, and Rest. Flareon with Flamethrower, Reflect, Focus Energy, and Body Slam. Alakazam with Psychic, Reflect, Thunderwave, and Recover. Lapras with Surf, Blizzard, Thunderbolt, and Confuse Ray. And Snorlax with Ice Beam, Amnesia, Rest, and Harden. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good team, honestly. 3 of his Pokemon, so half of his team, have like HP recovering moves. Seems like, yeah, this is a pretty solid team. It feels like I always had to have my starting Pokemon in there, and also usually a legendary. So I guess like Zapdos is here, but no Charizard or Venusaur or Blastoise. I feel like maybe I would switch out Flareon for Charizard, but it's a good team. Got some more art. Got Leaping Gyarados, Magic Dragon. Oh, it's a long boy. Pidgeotto portrait, and the legendary Pokemon Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. A lot of East Coast art here. We've got a lot of great stuff to chat about this month, including interesting news on Pokemon Gold and Silver and the Pokemon TV show. But if there's something bugging you that you just can't find the answer to, dash off a letter to your pals at PokeChat. We're here for you. I was playing Pokemon Stadium with Starmie, and it fell asleep and started snoring, but it doesn't have a mouth that I can see. How is it snoring? The animated Z's are meant to suggest that the Pokemon is asleep, not that it is snoring necessarily, although it might be, especially if it's a Snorlax. We're pretty sure some Pokemon talk in their sleep, some grind their teeth, and others sleepwalk. As for Starmie's mouth, it probably has one somewhere. Then again, Pokemon are not like normal animals in our world, so who knows? Think about Magnemite, for example. Where are its eyes, nose, feet, hands, ears, and mouth? Let's see. I'm just kind of scanning these questions. I'm in shock about Brock. Is he ever coming back? What's up with Gary? I thought he was Ash's rival. I miss a lot of the characters from the Pokemon TV show. The Pokemon TV show isn't the same now that they're in the Orange League. As readers of the Pokemon Center know, we too loved Brock. Gary is, well, he's okay. He's a bit too impressed with himself for our tastes, and the Orange League episodes were very different from the earlier episodes. But if you really miss characters like Gary, Brock, and other old faves, you should make it a priority to watch the new episodes of Pokemon on Kids WB, which have already started. Who knows what could happen? Are Mewtwo, Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno going to be found in the wild in Pokemon Gold and Silver? No. The Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow games storyline is continued in Gold and Silver. Each of the creatures appear only once per game in Red, Blue, and Yellow because they are one of a kind, and they don't appear at all in Gold and Silver for the same reason. The man in Celadon City gave me a diploma after I caught all 150 Pokemon. What can I do with it? Not much. It's a reward for the hard work it takes to catch every single Pokemon that can be caught in the game. It might seem strange to pick up an item that doesn't help you control, heal, power up, or evolve Pokemon, but that's exactly what you do. You should be very proud if you have the diploma. I think you could print the diploma off with a Game Boy printer, I think. Can't remember. And then we got some kids dressed up like Pokemon, which is great. Especially Corey Anderson here as the Starmie. Really a big fan of that. Nicholas as Ash. And the Anderson family went all out for Halloween with some really cool Pokemon costumes. Kellen Anderson looks ready to rumble as Hitmonchan, and the costume is a real knockout. We're wondering how Kellen manages to hold a trick-or-treat bag with those gloves on, though. Now you can just, like, slip it over. You just slip it over there and wear it on your arm. Hey, this kid's not an Anderson. He's Quinn Valerial. Probably not how you say that. And his Tia Jenny is one of the most dedicated Poke fans on Nintendo Power's staff. Quinn's first word was Pikachu. Okay, maybe not. Counselor's Corner. Showing off some Mario Tennis strategies here. I feel like how to unlock hidden characters and tennis courts. And then we got Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. Beat the hell out of that poor tree. Kirby's always messing up that tree, and I feel like the tree never really did anything wrong. It's just kind of defending itself. How do I defeat the orca whale? Get good, kid. Donkey Kong 64. How do I reach the bananas at the top of the machine? Don't play Donkey Kong 64. How do I help the worm in Fungi Forest? Don't play Donkey Kong 64. How do I stop the stalactites from falling? Don't play Donkey Kong 64. Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. Telling you to get better at sliding on that slide pole if you want those fireworks. Some fast facts. Tomb Raider for Game Boy. Can I save more than one game? No. How do I jump off a slide? Press the control pad in the direction you want to jump, then press the B button. Is there a limit to the amount of ammo and the number of metapacks I can carry? 99. Heroes of Might and Magic. Alright. Got Dragon Quest 1 and 2. I played through Dragon Quest 1 on this port not that long ago. And we have the remake coming out pretty soon. These are some old games, so I mean it's pretty basic for the most part here. They're just showing you some maps and telling you where to go, where some items are. But I really enjoy Dragon Quest a lot. I have only played, I've only completed 1 and 11, but I've played a lot of 5 and a lot of 9 and a lot of 8. Those are mostly the ones I've played a good amount of the main series. But it was something I didn't really get into until 11 came out. Well, that's not true. I guess my first real Dragon Quest was 9. But 9's huge, so I never did finish it. But yeah, just some more maps and things. Not too much worth getting too far into details on. Showing off the towns and where you get some keys. That's where you get the damn key for the damn lock. Map for the lighthouse and the sea cave. And then here's Regis Philbin with a bunch of money. R.I.P. Regis. Let's see, what was the question? What was the chicken, or where was the chicken first domesticated? I can't quite make out the highlighted answer. But the other answers are India, Peru, and Zaire. I think the highlighted one is France. And then you can see that Greg won $1 million. He became a virtual millionaire. Ogre Battle 64. That's pretty cool. You can win a quest through London. So enter this contest, and one winner will receive a 5-day stay in London, complete with a 4-day historical quest in London, a sword of the Black Knight engraved with the Ogre Battle logo, and $500 for a shopping spree in jolly old England. Second place prize winners will receive a Ogre Battles jacket and an Ogre Battle 64 cartridge. And then third prize gets a Nintendo Power shirt. That would be pretty cool. I would love a series where just people found the people that won these contests and like interviewed them. It'd be very interesting. Game Boy A Go-Go. Some tips and tricks for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the Game Boy. Not a bad game. Army Men, Frogger 2, Croc 2. I laugh because I went to a convention earlier this year, and there's a place selling these like backpacks that you could just like play emulators on for some reason. I don't know what the deal with that is, but we were like trying to think of what the dumbest game we could put on there was, and we just left it on the title screen for Croc 2 on the Game Boy. So that's pretty good. And then Road Rash for the Game Boy. A Nicktoons racing game. Towers 2. I wonder if Towers 2 is any good. That looks kind of neat. And an advertisement here for Dragon Quest 1 and 2. Man, that was probably a pretty good pickup back then, because you get 2 games, and I mean, Dragon Quest 1 is not super long, but they made some improvements to all of these and all the different monsters, and yeah, cool game. Space World. They're showing off a look at the GameCube. Okay, so they did have the name GameCube at that point. I don't know why they called it Dolphin at that thing at the start. So let's read this. On August 24th in Japan, Project Dolphin was officially unveiled as Nintendo GameCube. Like Game Boy before it, GameCube was named for its one and only purpose, to be a compact powerhouse of video game performance. Journalists and developers at Space World 2000 were spellbound by the demonstration of GameCube's abilities and features. Now it's your turn. The vast convention hall of Makuhari Messe could barely contain the excitement of 2,400 gaming professionals gathered from around the world to see what they hoped would be Nintendo's answer to PS2 and Xbox. The debut of Nintendo GameCube answered their questions and gave them a glimpse of the next generation gaming console designed expressly for unparalleled gameplay and easy game development. As beautiful as the screenshots are on the page, they are mere shadows of the vibrant animated images that appeared on 3 giant screens that day in Japan. In just 60 seconds of demos, GameCube showed the world that the future of interactive gaming was going to be magnificent. Then we see 3 different colors of GameCubes and 2 that did not exist. Although maybe that one on the bottom left is the Spice Orange, but it doesn't look like it. That top right one, I don't think that ever existed. It definitely didn't in the US. Mr. Miyamoto reported that 5 games would be available by the Japanese launch in July. Will Luigi become a star? So there's Luigi's Mansion. And then Metroid Prime. Metroid Studios in Austin, Texas created the demo starring Samus Aran of Metroid fame. It was out of this world. And then the Zelda demo that got everyone excited before they got very mad. Link's Battle was one of the most impressive demos on GameCube. The animation and effects were stunning. Showing off the broadband adapter. Oh, man, I always loved these designs of the Game Boy where it was like white with the colored buttons. We never got those, but here's a Wavebird prototype. That's kind of crazy. They're talking about how small the GameCube is. I'm surprised that there's not like a big feature in here about the handle. Meowth's Party, a musical video short that follows the Pokemon TV show in Japan, went interactive on GameCube. And then talking about how you can link your Game Boy Advance to it. I'm not sure what's up with this digicard thing. Game data will be saved on 4 megabit digicards that fit into the slot of the front of the unit, and an adapter for 64 megabyte SD flash memory cards will allow players to import data from digital services such as cameras. I don't think that was a thing ever. I don't think. They go on here to talk about there being previews of Wave Race and Star Wars, Mario, Perfect Dark. That didn't happen. Banjo didn't happen. Too Human did happen, but not on the GameCube. And Rebirth. What was Rebirth? I don't know what that was. And they're saying look out for E3 next year. Then they're showing off Game Boy Advance, Tweety's Magical Gem, Game Boy Wars Advance, aka Advance Wars, F-Zero, Dracula, Circle of the Moon, Top Gear, Bomberman Story, Mario Kart, Pinobi, Konami Racers, Golden Sun. Oh, that Silent Hill VN that did not come out here. Some golf game. Oh, Mega Man Battle Network. Kurukurukurin did not come out here. Did in Europe though. Nintendo has Fire Emblem Dark Shrine Maiden and F-Zero and Game Boy Wars and Golden Sun and Kurukurukurin, Magical Vacation, Mario Kart, Napoleon, Tactics Ogre Gaiden, and Wario Land 4. Monster Breed from Konami. I'm assuming that's Monster Rancher. Momotaro Festival. What is that? I didn't realize that they had like announced so many Game Boy Advance games before it came out. It's pretty cool. Then they're showing off the cell phone adapter thing for the Game Boy Color that only released in Japan. The only thing I really know about that is that it like worked for Pokemon Crystal and had some pretty neat things that you could do with that. Again, looking at that like early Game Boy Advance, I love that look. That's so cool. I don't know why they didn't just go with that. That's a just gorgeous design. All right, and now we're into reviews. So, Majora's Mask, a 9.4. Tigger's Honey Hunt, 7.6, huh? Okay. Sarge's Hero, 7.1, sure. Wow, Taz Express is 6.8, and Nintendo Power, that's real bad. Big Mountain 2000, don't remember that at all. Pokemon Gold and Silver, an 8.7, come on, that should be higher. That should absolutely be higher. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy the kind of stuff that that game had, and you're saying that it's zero point 0.6 points. It's a 0.6 better game than Donald Duck going quackers. All right, okay, bud. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. That was a good game. Good Tony Hawk Game Boy port. And we got Alice in Wonderland 6.9. Nice. Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers for the 64 and Game Boy Color. I always liked these bad Scooby-Doo games. Even like as a kid, I knew they weren't good, but I still liked them because I got to look at Scooby-Doo, and I'm a pretty big fan of looking at Scooby-Doo. They got groovy Scooby-Doo toys in every Burger King kids meal. Hell yeah. A few more reviews. Legend of River King 2 is a 7.3. Feel like that should be a little bit higher. Croc 2, 6.9. Seems too high. Frogger 2, 6.9. Road Rash, 6.1. And Walt Disney Racing, too long a title, 5.5. Some absolutely terrible contrasting colors here on these following sections that would not pass an accessibility audit. Biggest, baddest RPG to ever hit the N64, Ogre Battle 64, back when it was IGN 64. That's a game that I haven't actually played, but should. My time with Ogre Battle has been very little and few. What is this? Pack Watch. Nintendo Power opens the door to game development with GameCube. So, I guess I think these are just like previews of upcoming games. Spider-Man, a fun game, but you know, you probably want to play the PlayStation one. Hey You Pikachu, a game I was way too excited about, even though it was not good. Some Miss Pac-Man game, Sin and Punishment, great game that did not come out here for some reason. Sin and Punishment will launch in Japan this month. No plans have been made yet for the North American release. Yeah, you guys probably should have done that. We got Banjo-Kazooie. Well, this is Banjo-Tooie specifically. When it comes to the variety of play, gaming, challenges, and incredible graphics, no game on the schedule except Majora's Mask comes anywhere close to Banjo-Tooie. By November 20th, you should be prepared to embark with the Bear and Bird. Man, what a good year. You got Pokemon Gold and Silver, you got Majora's Mask, yeah, you got Banjo-Tooie. No wonder I never owned Banjo-Tooie as a kid, because I had Majora's Mask and Pokemon. Like, I just couldn't get both. I mean, nowadays I would, but my parents weren't going to buy me both. Got some this WCW game, Little Nicky, which I have on a shelf in my living room. Alone in the Dark, Roswell Conspiracies, Disney's Aladdin, some Barbie game. Talking about upcoming games. So in the fall of 2000, let's see if anything really jumps out here that we haven't maybe already talked about. Aliens. Oh, it was Alien. Okay, I see. It's kind of hard to tell looking at this, but it goes down 64 games and then Game Boy Color games, and so they're talking about an Aliens game for Game Boy Color. What else? Daikatana Adventure. What was Dinosaur Us? I don't know what that is for Game Boy Color. Harvest Moon 2. Pokemon Puzzle League for Game Boy Color. Return of the Ninja. And then in the future, so they don't have a release date yet, but you got Paper Mario, Eternal Darkness, Earthbound 64, Dinosaur Planet, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Some of those did not come out. And then Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, Lufia. Next issue, they talk about Hey You Pikachu. I definitely remember that one. I remember getting that issue on Halloween, I think. It was either on Halloween or yeah, it was on Halloween. I'm remembering that now. And then Majora's Mask Part 2 and this Donald Duck game and Mickey Speedway. Man, I don't know why I was so excited about Hey You Pikachu. Probably because I was a child and the idea of, you know, talking to a Pikachu, that's cool, but that was a bad game. But you can definitely download a free Pokemon internet browser at Pokemon.com. They're just like a skin for your browser. I want one free video. What is that? Pokemon cake decorations. Hasbro graduates their first class of Pokemon toys. That's silly. I wonder what this was advertising. It was definitely one of the Bond games, but what Bond game? World is Not Enough, maybe? Yeah, World is Not Enough. There it is. Not a great game. Advertisement here for the Pokemon Gold and Silver Player's Guide. Coverage of Pokemon Gold version and Silver version. Walkthrough of every town and route. Tips for beating the Elite Four. Detailed maps of every area. And then you can order old issues of Nintendo Power by calling that number. That's pretty neat. And they tell you what those old issues, like what games they talked about. So it's pretty cool. Does it say how much the issue is? I don't see where it tells you how much it costs to buy an issue, but it's neat that you can do that. Let's call up and say, hey, I need April 2000's issue so that I can get the coverage of ECW Hardcore Revolution. And they would say, yeah, all right. And then they probably charge you like, I don't know. I'm going to guess like $10 for the magazine and the shipping. Advertisement for Saban's Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. This was a bad game, I'm guessing. I had never played it, but it doesn't look good. And that is the end of the issue. So, in case you forgot, now what we do is we spin to see what issue we're going to look at next time. So we're going to spin this and see which EGM we're going to look at next episode. We already looked at EGM 78, so that's excluded. And it's issue 41. So let's take a look, see what issue 41 will be. All right, issue 41. This, we're going back a little ways. And so it looks like they are talking about Super Street Fighter 2, Road Rash 2, preview of the Super Nintendo Game Genie, Super NES Total Carnage, the Sony Super Nintendo CD-ROM, Turbo Street Fighter 2, Super Empire Strikes Back, Mortal Kombat Secret Moves, and then Street Fighter 3, and some Sonic. It says that there is a Sonic comic book inside. I wonder if the archive has that comic. I'm just gonna scroll through that, give you a little bit of a preview. I was hoping it would tell me if it has the comic book in it, but I don't see it. So yeah, we'll look at that next time. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with me. I'm gonna try my best to keep pumping these out. And yeah, so if you were watching this while you're going to sleep, then pleasant dreams. And yeah, I guess that's it. Have a good night.